Tessier, aka Matt369, wishing you a warm welcome to the Matrix. Star Fortress on YouTube. Today, the Tartarian War Part 2. The Moon. Key to our past revealed by 1903 movie showing geniuses sending people on the moon via a cannon. I'm exploring the old world, exposing Tartarian technology and the vastness of their empire. I ain't monetized, I get paid by knowing you like the comment, so please like and share, it only takes a second. I'm French and I want to keep things as authentic as possible, the reason why I'm narrating myself. English people, I'm sorry for massacring your language, I will try my best not to. So, with no further ado, let's do this. The Tartarian War Part 2, The Moon. Who of a certain age hasn't listened to A Trip to the Moon? Or, in the younger cases, who never woke up in the middle of the night to one of those crazy images? When we were kids, we perceived things differently. Well, I used to perceive things differently. Unbound by doctrine, we see the truth clearly. This film advertisement from another era, it stayed with me throughout my youth. Despite strong opposition from the controllers, to this day I still see these things. "50 years later, I go back to see if my memory is playing tricks on me. The moon, of course you barely gave it a thought, a dead celestial body drifting silently around our planet, which itself drifts around the sun, while our galaxy glides through the void of it at a staggering speed of over 2 million clicks an hour. Ah, come on, give me a break. A Trip to the Moon. It was made on Super 8. Back then, one of the secret amusements of the wealthiest was to alter images and conceal hidden clues, not just in the scenery, but woven into the very action itself. Just like on this scene, you can clearly see that they're transforming telescope into, yes, stools. Behind the film's apparent whimsy, certain details, almost imperceptible, could carry information that only a few viewers were able to perceive. Scenery are very limited, yet they contain a multitude of keys and clues. Significant clue such as this ring may seem ordinary to you, but in reality it isn't. Insignificant ring is, in fact, one of many that align to form a group. Never be deceived by the telescope's seemingly armless facade. It is in truth a master key, an eye-opening gateway. One can glimpse the existence of a broader network, a hidden mesh presented both on the moon and in our sky, which most observers regard as purely speculative. Let's say shadowy brotherhood recruited fools, replacing their dance cap with caps of authority. Past this system, the truth behind everything around you, everything, absolutely everything is under lock and key to make sure you never reach it. Hats and suit granted these clowns absolute power and instant godlike knowledge. They then vomit the insanity they were taught as unquestionable truth, when in fact it's nothing more than a carefully engineered matrix built entirely on the manipulation and gullibility of the masses. A few decor. Enough with the boring stuff. Let's dig in. The iron melting industrial compound. A setting. This is the foundry that manufactures our cannon, designed to launch the crew into space. At first glance, everything appeared normal. An old film, aged sets, chimneys and smelting furnaces. And yet, upon closer inspection,
Those chimneys seem strange. And for a good reason. Do you recognize this thing? Of course, it appears in the first chapter of the Tartarian War. View of Montreal at the dawn of the century. But what secrets linger in that scene? I live in the metropole for 20 years. I've never witnessed a building or a machine suspended above it. These pillars are ubiquitous, but fall outside normal human perceptual threshold. Once visualized, the observer becomes constantly aware of their presence. Once you've seen them, you can't unsee them. Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter. In fact, this belief only makes the effect stronger. Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated, for this is the antidote, the one irrefutable reality, the darn truth. Once you've seen it and understood it, there's no escaping it. Even if your mind resists, your eyes will lock onto it every time. And because this channel follows only one rule, the no bullshit rule, you'll start seeing them in every image. In the end, you'll believe more deeply than those who accepted it immediately. It is everywhere, yet never fully present, broken apart as though meant to remain unseen. Remember our invisible friend from the Tartarian War Part 1? This light pillar, it multiplies and forms a chain of uniform links. Focus on this ring, subtly tucked within the monochrome of colors. The ring, although visually stationary and seemingly negligible, operates as an energy conduit. It channels the imperceptible flux from the light pillar and functions as a navigational reference for vessels transiting the network. In its absence, the uniformity of the chain would lose structural integrity, and transport operation within this system would become unmanageable. They must be in line and at a regular interval. Are you familiar with the Stargate series? Its creator didn't need much imagination. If you look carefully, that's a jumper. That's a ship that goes through that travels through those energy rings, and in front of it, a ring. That's Manhattan at the turn of the century again. Rings are strategically placed. Each function as an energy node and convergence point, maintaining network stability and facilitating vessel navigation through the light pillar system. This accounts for the presence of the rings distributed uniformly around the pillars. These rings channel energy from the pillar, ensuring safe transit across the network. Despite the structural complexity of this imperceptible system, even though it looks fragile, looks like it was working. If you recall, in the part 1, I believed it to be a ship, yet it is actually the propulsion system. Examine these propulsion systems. They are distributed throughout the network, everywhere on the sky. No, these things aren't resting on the ground. They're floating in the air on top of Montreal at the turn of the century. This thing isn't a house, and it isn't resting on the ground either. These objects, like this one, float against gravity, connected to invisible pillars. I'll be back after the musical break, in which you will see some of these flying marvels. All of those things, all of them, they're all on top of Montreal. They're all floating in the air. They're all tethered to something. They're all tethered to a pillar, a light pillar. Can you see me now? Can you make sense of what you're seeing? These are invisible light pillars. This is the cloak-like device you see. The invisible sphere, the very crown of the pillars. Now it's identifiable eye-shaped base. All of that, of course, when visible. All of this, of course, applies only when it becomes visible. And visibility is not the same as one progress into this awkward study. Now you gotta understand this. A world exists right in front of you that you cannot yet discern. That doesn't make it any less real. You need to see in order to understand, and you need to understand in order to see. Quite a task I've taken on. Now observe carefully these pillar heads. This isn't an isolated case, believe me, it's everywhere. An unidentified apparatus affixed to the full extent of the pillar we are under discussion right now. You can see houses that aren't on the ground. Homes anchored to these unseen pillars. Remember those two? We talked about them. I told you they were everywhere. Now, look at this one. In Mont Royal at the turn of the century, but look at the end of this thing. Now, that is tube. All of those things, all of them, they're all connected to pillars.
This is the future. Evolution.
At this point, you are starting to register my presence. Even if not clearly, it appears deceptive, almost evasive. Examine the details carefully. Understanding what's in front of you demands concentration and a 3D perspective. This thing exists, quietly merging into the environment. Allow me to illuminate this for you. You're gonna have to admit it. It's just insanity. Now you're telling yourself, did this guy really said that these things are in every picture? That's impossible. Now, is it? I'm pretty sure you missed these two. Quite imperceptible, but then again, they're there. It's there. They appear to be everywhere. Each one is part of a system so intricate it defies comprehension. Incredible. Just incredible. To truly grasp what's before you, you need to develop your sense of depth. You need to be able to identify what exists in the foreground, differentiate it from the background. It's challenging, I'll grant you that, but with some guidance, do you notice the object tethered there? When you understand, there's no turning back. You just cannot stop seeing it because it's everywhere. Attempt to interpret this piece of the image using the reasoning you possess now. You just cannot, for what lies before you eludes any logic. What you see now is one of a kind and has never been released anywhere. And the reason is very simple because the only thing you don't see nowhere is that the truth. Let's test this tool, this telescope. Why not use the same image? It could make it more convincing. Here are the points you must pay close attention to. Look carefully at the detail. You're gonna see them on the ground. You don't expect to see a telescope because you won't see a telescope. This is not a telescope. This is a launcher. See you after the break. Look at them very carefully. Every house had one. The size, the size of this transport ring, just amazing. Now, let's return to the setting, the metal foundry. Now, look closely at those pillars. Positioned at regular, precise intervals, just like Elon Musk's vacuum train. The big discovery. Big bullshit. Always in line, always at the same intervals. Pillars surrounding glass tube at ground level, like the one I found atop of that certain building in Ottawa. Parliament Hill, yeah, found a glass tube inside construction picture of Parliament Hill. These images, they do not depict a construction phase, not at all. They're a demolition phase, retracting old world tech. These are criminal evidence, stolen technology from the ancient inhabitant of this world by the present owner. Stolen technology from the ancient world, hidden from us, hidden from you. Now, if this isn't clear enough, if this isn't clear enough yet, it will become shortly for sure. This is the tube technology. Naturally, you want to know where it goes, of course. Forget logic. Forget what you think you know. You've been fed lies all your lives. For these means of transport are what has been in from you for so long. It's quite a task to discern something formed from glass. Or again, invisible pillars. Pillars like these are everywhere. This is the Great Boston Fire of 1872. This is the first one I picked. I just typed the Great Fire of, and of course, Boston came out first, B. And as all the other, full of those pillars, hidden everywhere. In every photo of the so-called Great Fire, you will find these pillars. In fact, once you'll understand, you'll be able to discern AI and bogus picture with only one look. So simple, a kid could do it. If there's no pillar, then this is bullshit. One thing you can be sure about my claim is that they're well founded. And you'd also find things like these, which in the past you wouldn't even have noticed, and that if you did, you wouldn't have a clue as to what they were. Last chance to get off the boat, if it's not already too late, as for now, you're fucked. Yes, I'm sorry, you're getting infected as we go, because you are going to know what to look for, and the worst part, you're gonna find it, because you're gonna know what you're looking at. I am passing a virus on to you, but contrary as Big Brother, I'm asking you first if you're willing to take that virtual stab. If not, sorry, but it might already be too late. When I see an unknown thing floating in the air, I look for its pillar. Best way to do so, I look for the invisible sphere on top and the eye at the base. And wait a minute, stop the darn press. Now, who was that? Looks like a damn giant walkie-talkie. Believe me, most of you would call me nut and say it was an apartment building, even though it looked nothing like one. But I'm convinced you think that's the better explanation of the two, an apartment building. Of course, I don't believe these things to be talky. Yeah, I said these. Because it would seem that there is a field of these things. I spot the first pillar in the first part. I couldn't see it. It was like it was invisible. Now thinking about it, it makes no sense. Now it's clear as daylight. Hope it's the same for you. Now look right beside the pillar in the red circle. I know it isn't very clear. Welcome to my world. Can get any bigger, any clearer. Now maybe you grab the size of the task I inflict on myself, trying to show skeptical people that not only the official narrative is bullshit, but also the non-official. That I'm the only carrier of the truth. That, backed by blurry picture and an horrible accent, my life is great. Now, that's how you know when your inquiry is following the right path. This now is investigation. The truth is a straight line. The path I'm following is a dark one, never been crossed by any of us, but it has its rule. It all starts with the Matrix. Matt, that's what led me up to here. Why would our world be built entirely on top of generator? I needed to find where the energy was going. Matt's theory wouldn't be logical, and believe me, you can debunk Matt. I've been trying for 5 years and ended up with 5 years of solid evidence that it is what it is. And that's where this energy is all going, to those transport systems. Don't know if you noticed, but there's two sides of those things. One to go and one to come, of course, two directions. It's a train. We're gonna save some time and we're gonna join them. This science fiction, but which part is truly fictional? Cheminées, throughout this image, it is possible to glimpse the pillars, replacing the cheminées. Shadows so subtle, we fail to notice them, particularly when encountering them for the first time. Mais putain, Ramon, c'est Paris! Sacrement, ce que c'est beau, la France! Paris, the Tower of Lies. Once the framework is complete, the results range between what appears magical and science, too advanced for general understanding. Ring pathway, magnetic channel enabling high-speed travel there underneath the Eiffel Tower. Quite an avant-garde world fair, wouldn't you agree? And as with everything in these images of the era, they appear in multiple instances. And naturally, the ship at its end, poised for launch. As I mentioned earlier, repeated in countless examples. And now this thing, I wouldn't be true to myself if I left gap in the story. Do you see this creature? I invite you to replay if you didn't notice it. It It's a decoration. It's a pillar arranged according to what we would call the World Fair. Far more elaborate than we were ever shown. Of course, it's a pillar. That's what it is. I say that things keep repeating themselves, but sometimes we just don't recognize them as such. Now, would you say that these two things are the same thing? Well, of course they are. These pillars just seem to shift according to our perception, but in the end, it's the same. You've seen this pattern before. I've just showed it to you. Because, as you can see, it's a very common shape. You've simply never noticed it. All-seeing eye, always there, always invisible. It takes time, but you will perceive them soon, if you haven't already. Terre boule de gomme, once again. Lies, mystery, lies. Think that it was holding a flame? I believe it was holding something more like this. Would make more sense. Within the scenery of this film, you can uncover what we've been searching for, the darn truth. Pillars, perfectly aligned, always in straight line, following the rules. Do you think this is a cannon or an actual means of transport? I know it looks ridiculous, looks and sound ridiculous, but
This is the future.
make the difference between those two pictures. The cannon tip, of course. My guess is that the one on the right is for transport through the rings, and the one on the left, the tube version. Now let's see the tube version. Me, what I see in the middle of that picture is a pillar. Not only there, I see pillar hidden everywhere on this picture, like this one. There is camouflage, of course, but I believe that it was made in a way to keep the information still available, even if one cannot see it. Keep in mind that the era tech was made out of picture. Movie were picture and Super 8. They were more advanced, way more than us today. Did I told you that it's a fractional world? Just like the Super 8 movies? I'm sure that there's a way to superimpose these images, form a clearer than daylight 3D picture. Unfortunately, that I cannot prove and I never been able to achieve. And it's not for not trying. Complete days and sometimes entire night trying to figure it out just got me more convinced that it was the good theory, but the bad equation. I think the 369, the ratio of the matrix, that's the rabbit hole. If someone figure it out before me, please, in the name of the guy in the sky, Superman, let me know about it. Looks more like a piping system than a cannon to me. Allow me to show you. These are not typical cannon tips. Quirky little detail for a 1900 stage set. Believe it or not, Disney paid Illustrator to insert chemtrail into the skies of their classic film, Donald Duck and Chemtrail. Observe how far the web of lies extend. Artificial intelligence at its best. Microsoft designer. That is what they don't want you to perceive, which is why they place it before your eyes, daily, everywhere. The pillars. They are not invisible, are the ruins of another era, cleverly hidden behind apartment blocks. Futuristic transport, invisible to the uninitiated, yet part of the past for those who understand. This is what they hide from us. Technology of the past hidden behind apartment blocks. They never wondered why there was apartment blocks in the 1800s, 1600s, always in the background of picture, because it's camouflage. This was Sagrada Familia at Barcelona. What a sight. This image, a relic from my childhood. What the hell captivated me so much about it? Must have been the way that it contradicts everything they were saying. Comes back to me, yeah, as clear as crystal. The memory of what I saw with my kids' nearly new eyes. Back then the images were brighter, sharper, yet still utterly inexplicable. This tool, this telescope, clearly visible over Montreal, its position marked by an eye at the front of the launcher, their depiction of the moon. And of course, it's a two-way ride. And it goes in all directions. Now here's Matt, the Matrix, that citadel. Well, actually, it isn't Matt. It's the one we see because it's the one on top. It's One Direction. Now this is Matt, the Matrix. That's a four direction. Crowning the citadel in its center, a star fort, a bastion. The more direction you add to it, the more points your star fort rests as. Sébastien Vauban-Lapresse didn't build or nor designed any of those things. This is enhanced geometry. Some might call it sacred geometry. Anyhow, that's a part of the citadel, a part of Matt. That's the bastion. This one as well has been presented to you, but you simply failed to recognize it. The bastion sits on the ground. Atop the citadel and the emerging pillar define a Metatron's cube, a complex geometric framework. Well, in fact, it ain't no nothing complex. It's a bastion in 3D, that's all. This is the all-seeing eye of the past. It was everywhere, and it looked a lot like a real eye. Now this obelisk, a silent sentinel, reaching toward the skies. That floating monument that was hovering over Montreal in the early 1900s gives me the shiver. Incredible thing that's always surrounded by those as incredible rings. And now, do we confront sheer madness, or is there a hidden logic behind 50 years of research? It's showtime! Pay attention, avoid recent image. They deceive the eye. The older picture holds far more clarity. From afar, the new one looks alive, vibrant, yet up close, they reveal nothing at all. Look, this picture is in French, and what it means is picture of the world, with an S. This is one of the first picture of the moon. Think it looks shitty now, don't you, huh? To compare, I typed the clearest image of the moon by NASA. We are regressing, that's the least I can say. I'm just gonna leave you this little comparison for now, because that's for another time. The launcher, the cannon from the movie. I invite you to watch it closely. It will show you things you'd never noticed without it. Things that seem to have stepped right out of a storybook, more of a fiction. It's up to you to look and decide what's fake and what's fairy, or what's a tale.
dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for the final gates to open to a new tomorrow, moving with the motion, following the light that sets me
over the edge. Feel like I'm floating through.
Now, let's see for that pillar. Of course, we find it everywhere. We can see the ring on the top of this one. Oh yes, I know. They call them crater. But think for a moment how improbable this is. A rock would have to strike perfectly perpendicularly to make a circular crater. Now consider this. All craters on Earth, Moon, Mercury, everywhere, they're all circular. So stop believing the official story. They're not craters. Strangely reminiscent of the gondola atop the Eiffel Tower. Crater or mechanical gear? This thing is a huge mechanical device, just like the Earth itself. Yeah, I've shown it to you. It's just that you didn't notice, but it's still pretty clear. Now you don't see it, eh? Here, I know, it's small, but it's for another time. Okay, here's for you, sweet tooth. Now that's part of the Earth. As you can see, it's a machine. Let go of the doctrine. Shut once and for all the voice in your head that silently dictate what is true and what the boundaries are. That is what stops you from seeing. I ain't asking you to believe. Why would I need to ask? The odds that what I've just shown you be pure luck is none. Only Photoshop could explain this feat, but I only use historical, retraceable, official picture, and honestly, it would take more time to manufacture bullshit to resemble that than the time it takes me to find them. I understand we don't perceive the same thing. If you don't see this thing in the forefront, then I guess you are already long gone, or I still don't know the way to show my stuff. For this craft, well, I'll let you be the judge. Now let's do the stool, the telescope. You must understand that these are probably ruins, just like they are here. Telescope. It's everywhere. Parts of it still emerging from whatever is on top of it. Upon closer inspection, this brief film from the turn of the century reveals itself as something entirely different. A 15-minute doorway, Pandora's box. I always knew. I never doubted. I was right all along. Technology lost across the ages, rediscovered by a small group of oligarchs or perhaps by something else entirely, another race. We are the willing slave of something or someone determined at all cost to maintain control through our own ignorance. What I present here, unlike any official or unofficial narrative, is verifiable by anyone because truth is linear, it cannot be altered, and by remaining so, it leaves traces everywhere. Until next time. When the truth emerges, it is supposed to match every pieces of evidence that remain visible. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I've been trying to debunk this story since I've discovered it. 5 years now. And I found no contradiction, only more evidence. Now you may understand why there were no cars prior to the 1900s, and the reason behind those incredible bridges of the past. They were not made for cars, of course. Horse and buggy, come on. And the vanilla sky to hide the tubes. If you have advanced comprehension, this may also shed light on those Zeppelin picture because if you haven't understood it yet, they control everything we see. If they didn't want us to see Zeppelin, there wouldn't be any. They show them to explain all those flying tubes everywhere that you may stumble upon. Big audience usually mean big bullshit, and the one thing we never see is always the same, the truth. Bear with me and the connection will start to appear to you as if someone just turned on the light. Well, that's what happened to me. Then the anger will set in because you will understand the extent of the lies you live with daily. In fact, you'll understand that nothing is true. They forge our reality to keep us stupid. Please like and share, and if you want more, have a nice day.